Good morning, I'm Mirza Lutza. It's June 8, 2088, and welcome back to the Time Capsule Show, where we look back to events from the past. The world we once knew is tired and on the verge of giving up. Climate change has wreaked havoc on our planet, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. Dorset County is now entirely underwater. The area in the south of the UK was once the setting for the student TV show Earth on Edge. Today we'll be looking back at their broadcast taking place in the year 2023.
Hello and welcome to Earth on Edge, a groundbreaking TV show that shines light on our planet's environmental challenges.
We will be showcasing inspiring stories of those impacted and dedicated to making a difference here in Bournemouth. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Vasilena, and we're thrilled to be your hosts on this captivating journey towards a more sustainable future.
As you may know, our planet is in a critical state, on the edge of irreparable damage. The signs of its distress grow more apparent each day, from rising global temperatures to dwindling biodiversity.
These challenges demand urgent attention, and the fate of the planet is in our hands.
We will start our journey today with one of the major issues of the seven seas, pollution. Our reporter Larval went out to find a solution to this problem and found himself at the Southbourne beach.
Over the past 10 years, humans have made more plastic than the last century, and every year 8.3 million tons are discarded in the sea. There are currently 500 marine locations recorded as dead zones globally, which together are the size of the United Kingdom's surface. It is even suspected that by 2050, our dumped plastic will outnumber the fish population. This is Nige, and he wants to prevent this from happening. After 20 years of dedicated work in the tech field, he decided to quit and focus on sustainability.
So I wanted to do something kind of smaller and more practical. So that's when I started up the business with my wife, the Wailing Turtle, where we upcycle and recycle materials to kind of make art and to make things hopefully that make people happy. And ultimately our aim is that we run workshops where we are and help other people to get excited and also to challenge them to think about the environmental impact of what we're doing.
And that's what he did. Since the beginning of 2023, Naj and his wife are proud owners of the Wailing Turtle.
What we try to do is we try to kind of take, if you like, from the environment. So we'll take driftwood and we'll take kind of shells and things like that to use as part of our art. And our give back to it is that we take rubbish and we'll either take the rubbish and put it into plastic recycling, or we'll try and reuse some of that rubbish in our artwork.
And that's not where Nige stops with being as sustainable as possible. All of the products he uses in his art are vegan.
Our idea is that we don't take anything like new from the environment, so there's no new plastics. But also the way that we create the art, the paints that we use and the finishes that we use, we make sure that they're all sustainable, eco-friendly and also vegan as well. So that after people have finished with the art, that it can just go back into the system and be broken down like a normal piece of wood would, rather than something that's going to last for 100 years and be an impact on the environment.
Naj has told us all about the Wailing Turtle. Now let's take a look at the master himself at work, at the place where it all starts for him, the beach. Hey Nige, now that we have you out on the beach, where would you start?
Well, to start, litter picking and collecting some of the stuff we take down to the workshop is really to go down to the shoreline.
So when would be the time that you find the most trash out on the beach?
Well, it's a very good question. The most trash we find tends to be when there's been heavy storms in the winter. So, you get the kind of tide bring all sorts of stuff up from around the area. But the other thing, it's very linked to the phase of the moon as well, because the phase of the moon has an effect on the tide, and that affects how far the tide comes up the beach.
All right, Nige, let's head out and see what we can find.
Okay, let's go.
Now that you've seen what cool things can be done with trash, find out what would happen with our trash back in the studio.
Today we have another artist in studio who deems sustainability just as important as Nige. Artist and singer-songwriter Sharon OBrien. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Could you tell us a bit more about how you work in terms of art and sustainability?
Yes, I love to collect things from the beach. I used to only collect shells, pebbles, sand and things, interesting pieces of driftwood, but now I'm picking up lots of bottle tops and plastic of all kinds, so I'm using that and utilising it within my art just to make people aware that that's actually on the beach, but you can, as an artist, make something beautiful out of it.
And why would you say that it's so important to use reusable materials for art?
Well, because you've always got to recycle things in a good way, so it lessens the impact of it, just to show, you know, that it needs to be collected from the beach.
Well, that's great. Well, as we can see, our audience as well, you have collected some materials from the beach and you have brought them all the way here to the studio and you're going to create something in front of us right now.
Yes.
So can you just walk us through your process,
Well,
how exactly you're going to do
I'm
it?
going to do a seascape painting, and then I'm going to use what I usually use, pebble sand, and then I'm going to use the plastic that I found as well, just incorporate in there for the colour.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to hear it, and I wish you a lot of luck and creativity, because taking this trash and making it beautiful will definitely be hard.
Thank you.
And while Sharon works on her art, we will be taking our next stop.
From Southbourne to Poole, the Bournemouth Council have been hard at work for quite some time in trying to make the local coastline more climate resistant. In early 2021, the BCP began setting the Poole Bay Beach Management Scheme in motion, which consists of topping off 7 local beaches with outsourced sand with the goal in mind to protect the coastline from erosion. Though this has been a wonderful eco-friendly initiative, some local industries within the Bournemouth community claim to be impacted by the sand dredging conducted by the BCP.
I think it could be catastrophic, to be honest with you. You know, we're not getting the catches. And if you think about the population of the world, what we eat, you know, we're taking so much from the sea. You know, how can it be sustainable?
Hutchings Brothers Seafood is a local business that has been part of the Bournemouth community for over 40 years. Situated right on Christchurch Road, their number one focus is on preparing high-quality catches and delivering them to their customers, whenever, wherever. Simon Hutchings, the current owner, tells us more about how the BCP's initiatives have been directly impacting his business.
So we get a lot of our customers ask, in particular, for local fish. Well, again, years ago we could do that. We could, but we can't do it at the moment because they're just not being caught. So we're having to source fish from further afield. So, you know, you can't say it's local.
Councillor Simon Bull explains how essential sand reclamation is to protect the coastline's survival. However, it has been tough to protect the interests of all parties impacted by the project.
Environmentally, I'm not entirely convinced it's necessarily the best thing for the planet. It's certainly necessary to protect the coastline, but at the moment it's the best solution we have to protecting the coastal area.
Whatever the issue may be, Mr. Hutchings and many of his peers feel like there is no solution to these problems.
I see very little can be done because, as I say, it's so financially driven that how can a very small group of us stand up to the council when they need to make their money? And so, you know, we're only a minority. I don't really think they think of us too much as long as they are successful generating what they need to generate.
I think it's really important that every industry and every person that wants to contact the council is able to do so and able to get their point across and their point heard and answered. I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to give everybody the answers they want, but certainly if they feel they're not being heard, I think they should contact their local councillors and try and get some action that way. It's important that people are heard.
Though wholesalers and fishermen state that their catches are on the decline and that the BCP sand initiatives affect business, the BCP states that the sand initiatives are crucial for the coastline's survival. Could there be a middle ground to be found through policy? Let's find out more in studio.
Thank you, Sylvia. That was a really gripping news package. And today in the studio we have Peter Datz, a local fisherman, and Kate Salmon, a Green Party BCP Council member. So welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, thank you.
Thank you.
So let's get straight down to the nitty-gritty. Mr. Datz, have you experienced the same decline in local fishing that Mr. Hutchings describes in the report?
Yes, we have. The area in Christchurch Bay to the east of where the beach replenishment has been taking place, there's large areas there now that have pretty much turned into dead zones where the crustaceans that we used to catch, primarily lobsters, they're just not there anymore. So the rocks that the lobsters are living on, they've pretty much been buried, and the kelp that used to live on the rocks that would supply like a canopy and a cover for all the small fish to live on, that's gone as well. So it's, yeah, we're seeing a fair bit of that now.
And has the BCP Council conducted any research on why is the local sea life declining, and could it be something like overfishing maybe?
I'm not aware of any research having been carried out in the time frame that we're talking about. I am aware, however, that the beach management scheme is focused on protecting our coastline from erosion, and the sand replenishment and the replacement of the groins is all around protecting the cliffs from quite significant erosion that would otherwise take place. However, it's clear to me that there seems to be some imbalance in terms of the approach that is currently being taken, and the impact that it is having on the local fishing industry. So I think it is something that we need to have a look at and see if there's another way.
So you would agree that there is some research to be conducted to create a balance, but it has not been done yet?
I'd be very keen to explore this further and find out more about what we could do and how we could do this a little bit differently to in everybody's best interest.
And actually, to add to that, I have a question now for both of you, but starting with you first, Mr. Datz. So what do you think the Council can do on a policy level to kind of find a balance between keeping the coastline from eroding, however, but also keeping the livelihoods of fishermen in Bournemouth not affected by that?
The fishermen totally understand BCP's stance on coastal erosion and protecting the coastline. We totally get that, and we totally understand that Bournemouth and Christchurch and Port is very much a tourist destination, especially for the summer. So we need to have things in place to maximise the town's profits and also make it alluring and good for people to come and visit. Because it's not just the people that come down to visit the beach, they also go to restaurants, which creates a lot of trade and also gives us a good trade for our fish in the summer because people want to eat it. So we totally understand that. What the fishermen would like to see is that the sand or materials that are put on the beach stays on the beach. I mean, it's a pretty well-known fact that 100% of what goes on the beach, they will lose 30% of that straight away. And normally they would put 100,000 tonne of sand on the beach, 30,000 tonnes of that, within reason, is immediately put straight into the water. And that's before we've had bad weather and tide and ground swells, which start clawing it all back off. So long as there's something put in place that can retain that sand on the beach, then I don't think the fishermen will have an issue, as long as it doesn't come back and impact us.
And so you would say that both of you are just focused on tourism, but in a way, both of your initiatives just clash each other, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, the fishermen aren't dependent on tourism. We have markets for our fish all over the country, in fact, all over the world. The cuttlefish that we catch goes to Far East Asia and all over the Mediterranean. So we're not reliant on local, but it's nice for the fishermen's fish to stay local.
Yes, okay, thank you.
That sounds fantastic. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. Conversations like these can be very hard, but it's great to open up the floor. We will be heading off to our next stop, but we will do so right after the break.
I get a lot of questions about what we do at the PC. In short, we represent your interests at management level. Dutch education law states that staff and students' participation is organized in PCs. But what does it actually mean? A key task of PCs is to foster openness, be vigilant about discrimination, and encourage equal and inclusive treatment for all involved. PCs also give consent to major changes to the way we teach and work and study. Our task is to ensure that the interests of students and staff are safeguarded in a balanced way, and that major changes are implemented in a transparent and inclusive fashion. PCs have given consent to key strategies just recently and very fast, like BUAS Plus, team-based working, and the new LMS Brightspace. Just a few examples. Thank you.
Welcome back.
to Earth on Edge.
We're here to do our part to save the planet and inspire people to live sustainably.
We will go back to the shore where we'll find our next stop on our journey.
The rise of water temperature is worrying to many. Our reporter Sylvia went back into the field to meet a marine expert whose work revolves around the oceans and, more importantly, the life in it.
Large-scale overfishing can affect ecosystems, and the rising temperatures of the waters can have detrimental effects on both life in water and land. Rick Stafford is a biologist and academic based at Bournemouth University, specialized in the effects of overfishing, climate change, and how marine protected areas can be effective to battle unsustainable overfishing practices.
Climate change will have quite a few effects on marine life. The most obvious one, the one that's happening now, is that species are moving towards the poles. So here they're coming from southern warmer waters up into the English Channel. Now, so we're seeing species of fish like triggerfish up here, which we haven't seen sort of 20 years ago at all. And we're also going to see perhaps things like more species of sharks, not necessarily the ones everyone's afraid of, but certainly new species of sharks coming up from further south.
Rising temperatures cause species to move northward, leading to less effective plankton in the English Channel and reduced food for fish. This disruption in the food chain ultimately threatens the marine biodiversity in not only Bournemouth waters, but worldwide.
It's going to have effects potentially which are well beyond the number of fish in the sea. So if the number of plankton do decrease with climate change, then that's going to cause several problems. So firstly, those plankton are taking up carbon dioxide and they're producing oxygen. They take up about the same amount of carbon dioxide as all the forests in the world put together, and they produce the same amount of oxygen, about 50% of the oxygen which we breathe. And you know, if we're right with our predictions and that the amount of phytoplankton decreases in the ocean as a result of climate change, then basically we're going to end up with a lot less oxygen, both in the sea and on land. So that change is going to have effects not just for the number of fish in the sea, but also for all life on land, including for humans.
Rick is a principal investigator on 2 current artificial reef projects and co-investigator on another one. With about £1 million in funding in total, they are currently examining the benefits of artificial reefs in the UK.
As marine biologists, we can also do things to limit the effect of climate change on the ocean's ecosystems. And that's really about increasing the resilience of those systems. So some ways that we can do that, we can have effective marine protected areas. What that does, it increases the biodiversity of the number of species which live in those areas. So some of the work that we're doing is to create artificial reefs and artificial rock pools, particularly artificial rock pools on man-made structures. And again, that increases the biodiversity in the area. And hopefully that will make it more resistant to changes in temperature.
The BU team has installed nearly 120 artificial rock pools that provide shelter, feeding opportunities, and nursery habitats made from natural low-carbon concrete.
The future of marine ecosystems is hopefully going to be really good with these measures which we're putting in place. So hopefully we'll have very biodiverse ecosystems with plenty of fish, both for people to eat and to remain in the seas and keep the ecosystems healthy. We can do what we can as marine biologists, but we can't do anything if effects of climate change are continuing. So again, we do need that urgent action to reduce carbon dioxide emissions.
As Rick stated, it's very important to cut down on CO2 emissions as much as possible. Let's find out what our hosts know about battling climate change back in the studio.
Now that we have had a little break, I hope that your mind has cleared up a little bit, because now I'm going to test your knowledge and find out exactly how much attention you have been paying so far.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you questions, and if you answer correctly, you're gonna hear. However, if you answer wrong, we're gonna hear. So, are you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
First question. How many marine locations are recorded as dead zones globally?
272.
And that is wrong. It's 500.
500?
Yeah, close
That's
enough.
a lot.
Okay, moving on. Question number 2. What is BBC trying to accomplish by sand replenishment?
Okay, so that has something to do with the coastlines and erosion, because erosion is bad and the coastlines are good, so we want to save the coastlines by reducing erosion.
And that is correct.
I'm so smart.
Good job. I see that you have listened. Okay, moving on. Question number 3. Because of the rising temperatures, the fish in the English Channel are changing directions. To which direction are they changing to?
That's easy. They're going north.
Correct. Okay, this was very good, but also very obvious, so I'm not surprised. Okay, and now for our final and 4th question. How long does it take for the material polyester to decompose?
How am I supposed to know that?
Come on, do you even read?
I am literally dyslexic.
Yeah, I can tell. So, the answer is wrong.
But what is it?
Well, I'm very glad that you asked, because let's see at our next stop. Did you know that fashion is the second largest polluter after the oil industry? A rubbish truck full of clothes is burned or landfilled every single second. Polyester takes more than 200 years to decompose. It's more critical than ever to re-examine our fashion decisions as the world adopts a more eco-aware way of life. A hidden gem in the heart of Bournemouth is changing the way we think about fashion and provides a distinctive shopping experience that actively supports sustainability. Today, we take you on a journey through this thrift shop where you can find vintage clothing and upcycled accessories for everyone regardless of their age or style preference, while supporting a more sustainable way of living.
So there's not a massive creative vintage scene in Bournemouth, so we decided to open here to kind of give people, the young people of Bournemouth, a place to shop sustainably and eco-friendly. It's really important for people to shop sustainability because, like I said, it's good for the environment. It kind of breathes new life into clothes, and it stops people buying from like high street brands. A lot of clothes that get pushed out there now just go straight into landfills or ditched or binned, whereas these clothes go back 10, 20 years. It's like an endless loop as trends come in. Normally these trends are from that's already happened back in the day, so it's just reused and then it gets cycled around people back into the stores, so it's just kind of endless. It won't get ditched and left. I think people don't realise, but a lot of things you find on high street stores have taken inspiration of stuff that's already happened. So a lot of things that you might see online, you could probably find a cheaper and a more sustainable alternative in a shop like this. Find things you like and maybe do a bit of research online or pop into your local thrift store. People that work here are always happy to help them out and give them advice.
So, Jayden, why are you just listening? Come join me and let's pick up some outfits.
The creation of clothing has a negative impact on the environment, but there's still hope in the form of secondhand shops.
So let's choose wisely and support thrift shopping, because even the smallest steps towards a more sustainable fashion helps to protect the environment for the future generations.
So let's go see the clothes we bought today in the studio.
Ooh.
I
Oh my
feel
gosh.
fantastic.
Did you see us on the screen?
We were so cute.
Oh my gosh. But wait, this looks so good. Give me a little twirl. Show me.
Thank you. Thank
oh my
you.
God. I love this top. How much was it?
It was actually 26, but it's a very high-end brand, so it was very nice to get it for
That's
26.
really, and also the resale price of that is insane.
Insane.
Yeah, honestly, you look so good. You should let me style you more often, I swear.
What's wrong with my regular style?
I didn't want to sound like that. I think it's pretty edgy.
But I trust. As we can see, being sustainable can in fact be very easy, but I think now it's time to go check up on Sharon instead of you insulting me.
Okay.
Sharon.
Hi.
I have a question for you first. Do you shop at thrift stores?
I don't.
That is such a shame.
I need to.
You should
Oh
more.
my God. Yeah, you reuse so much materials and you don't reuse your clothes.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to see the artwork though.
I think so too. It's time that you review our work and also get ready for your thrilling performance that you're gonna see in just a second. So let's do the reveal in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God, I see the
God.
tiny details.
Are those like, oh, and there's like a can opener, that's
Oh, I like that.
That's
I like
the
what you do.
details.
These are all
Thing
bottle
here.
Okay, so
caps, which
walk
I
us through the process, Sharon. Like, tell us what you
So
did here.
basically what I've done is I've got all the plastic bits and I've cut them up. As you can see, we've got green and blue and light blue here, and I just sort of incorporated in with the pebbles to give it colour.
Absolutely
And
fantastic.
also leave a whole bottle top and the odd bit of.
That's really great.
Why,
really
just
did
to show
an amazing
people.
job. You didn't waste your time here.
Thank you.
But
That
now
was
I think
amazing.
it's time for you to get ready for your performance.
Thank
so
you.
we will see you in a moment.
Okay.
Today, we've seen fishermen, scientists, and artists take the stand against climate change. Young, old, big or small, you too can make a difference.
Yeah, what she said. I mostly agree, I'd say. Thank you very much for watching. And in just a moment, we will be listening to Sharon OBrien singing The World, She's Got the Blues. This was Earth on Edge, and see you in a better future. And remember, don't frolic near the edge. Thank you so much for watching.
These old stars, they still take me in my eyes, in my heart. Oh my God, He still hears me when I cry, when I call. Oh, oh, when I call. This old world, she's become so sick. Better find some medicine and find it quick. So, whoa, whoa, she's got the blues. Oh, whoa, whoa, what can we do? Oh, whoa, whoa, she's got the blues. Oh, she's got the blues. What can we do?
Thank you for watching the Time Capsule Show. The students' effort to change the world for the better is admirable. If only we had listened.